everybody, welcome back. My name is Caleb. Today, instead of playing Marvel Snap, we're going to talk about it. There's a new card that's going to be coming out in about a week when the season that's currently happening, the Power Cosmic, when this season is over, we're getting a new season, and the featured card for that is going to be Zabu. Now, Zabu is a card that I'm really excited about because I think that it fits into a lot of archetypes pretty well. Now, I've got a couple of deck lists that I want to show you after we discuss Zabu, but for now, let's go ahead and talk about the card itself. It's a 3-cost card with 2 power. So the 3 cost is what I think really allows it to fit into a couple of decks really well. The 2 power, you're not really going to be doing anything crazy with that. It's not going to really help you win lanes itself, but it is going to give you the opportunity to win other lanes by making your 4-cost cards much cheaper. Now, I say it makes your 4-cost cards cheaper. What exactly does it do? The description is it's an ongoing ability, and your 4-cost cards cost 2 less, to a minimum of 1. So if you play Mystique on top of Zabu, your 4-cost cards are going to be costing 1. If you play Sarah on top of Zabu, your 4-cost cards are going to cost 1. So that's going to give you the opportunity to have some really strong turn 5 and turn 6 plays. Even if you don't get the Mystique or Sarah down, 4-cost cards costing 2, that's going to allow you to drop 2 4-cost cards on turn 5, 3 4-cost cards on turn 6. If you get those all the way down to 1 cost, you could be playing 6 4-cost cards on turn 6, which is a super strong play. Now, you do have to worry about leader, but I don't really think that you're gonna be playing 6 4-cost cards on turn 6. Generally speaking, I think you're gonna want to play Zabu and then take advantage of those 4-cost cards on turn 5 and then transition into more of a normal gameplay on turn 6. So let's go ahead and let's talk about some of these decks that I think Zabu works really well in. So the first deck that I think Zabu is going to work really well with is actually going to be Darkhawk decks. Now, as you can see in the deck, I've only got 4 4-cost cards, but I think that we're going to be able to get a lot of value out of these. So looking at it, we've got Iceman, Korg, Black Widow, Beast, Mystique, Zabu, Darkhawk, Absorbing Man, Shang-Chi, Rockslide, Sarah, and Odin. Now, we've got a couple of disruptive cards, right? A couple of control cards that are really going to help us increase the power of Darkhawk, right? Those are going to be Korg, Black Widow, and Rockslide. Those are cards that are going to allow us to add cards to our opponent's deck, right? With Korg, we add a rock. With Black Widow, we stop them from drawing. And then with Rockslide, we're going to add 2 more cards to their deck. So the idea behind this deck is we want to play Korg, Black Widow, and Rockslide as often as possible on top of Darkhawk. We'd like to be able to either recall those cards with Beast or activate their abilities again with Odin so that we get even more cards into the deck. Now, Zabu is going to make Darkhawk, Absorbing Man, Shang-Chi, and Rockslide. It's going to make all of those cards 2 cost, which means on turn 6, honestly on turn 5 too, we're going to be able to play quite a few of those cards to either get Darkhawk onto the field for super cheap. We can play Absorbing Man on top of Rockslide to get 4 cards into the deck. We could even play Absorbing Man and Shang-Chi if they've got 2 9-power cards in 2 different lanes, right? This deck, I think, provides a lot of flexibility and is one of the ones that I'm really excited about. We also run Mystique so that we have the opportunity to copy Darkhawk so that we can get 2 really strong cards into 2 lanes. And then we also play Sarah just to make things super cheap. So if we wanted to, we could play, you know, like Sarah turn 5, we could do like a Rockslide and then Odin for a 14 power lane. I almost did my math wrong there. For a 14 power lane on turn 6, if we have Sarah down, we could play Rockslide and Odin, which Rockslide and Odin is also going to increase the power of Darkhawk, right? I just think that there's a lot of synergy in this deck, and then Zabu making Darkhawk, Absorbing Man, Shang-Chi, and Rockslide cheaper is going to be absolutely amazing. You can use Absorbing Man to copy the Korg, the Black Widow, the Rockslide, right? Any of these cards, you're going to be able to copy, and I just think it's really going to make Darkhawk super strong. I think that this is going to be the strongest of the decks that I've made, at least. I think this is going to be the strongest Zabu list. And even if you can't get Zabu onto the field, right, to make Darkhawk, Absorbing Man, Shang-Chi, and Rockslide, to make your 4-cost cards cheaper, right, you can still get value out of the rest of the list, which is why I think it's really important, right? Zabu helps make the win condition better, but it doesn't determine the win condition, right? So If you don't get access to Zabu, you do have the capability to do some other things. Plus, the rest of the deck, I think, is really just disruptive enough between Iceman Cord, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Rock Slide. And then you've also got Absorbing Man and Beast, right, that you can copy and then replay those things. I think that you're really going to see that this deck has a lot of potential, a lot of power, a lot of disruptive ability as well. So this is one that I'm really, really excited about. So the next deck list that I really want to talk about is actually this Zabu Surfer deck list right here. This list, I think, has the potential to be really, really good thanks to Zabu being a 3-cost card. We can take this card and actually turn it into a card that will help us win lanes. Now, the deck list goes Mystique, Silver Surfer, Bishop, Brood, Storm, Zabu, Cosmo, Polaris, Maximus, Wong, Absorbing Man, and Sarah. So the idea here is we want to use Zabu to help make Wong and Absorbing Man super cheap so that we get some really good turns for turn 4, 5, and 6. We've got Sarah to help make things cheaper as well, but the real idea behind this is we want to be able to get Wong onto the field so that we can play Silver Surfer, so that we can play Absorbing Man, and then we also want to have the opportunity to get a bunch of these other 3-cost cards on the field. So Wong and Absorbing Man aren't necessarily what you need to have available to you, right? So let's say we get Zabu on the field to turn 3, and then we don't have access to Wong on turn 4, but we do have Absorbing Man in our hand. We can still play something like Bishop, like Brood, Storm, Cosmo, any of these other 3-cost cards, right? And then that's going to give us access to Absorbing Man and Silver Surfer on turn 6, which is going to be really nice. Maybe we don't get Zabu, but we do have Sarah, and we can still Silver Surfer, Absorbing Man on turn 6, right? I just think that this list has a whole bunch of ways to get really, really strong using Silver Surfer and reducing the energy cost of cards. I think you can get a lot of power onto the board with this deck. We've also got some slight disruption with Cosmo and Polaris. Cosmo stopping on reveal abilities. We've also got Storm, which is going to stop our opponents from playing into a lane, and then we can boost Storm with Silver Surfer, right? The Polaris is going to give us the opportunity to move a card, just a one or 2-cost card, right, into a lane. So maybe they've got a Sunspot that's really big in one lane, and we want to move it out of there so that we can hopefully win. Polaris is going to give us that option, right? So I'm really, really excited about this deck as well. Silver Surfer has been one of my favorite archetypes through this past season pass, and I think that Zabu really can help make it better. Plus, take advantage of the ability of Silver Surfer. So this is another deck that I'm really, really excited about. Another deck list that I'm really excited about is Zabu and Devil Dinosaur. You're really able to take great advantage of Moon Girl and White Queen with Zabu, and I think that that's really going to help Devil Dinosaur be really strong. Now, this deck is a combination of Devil Dinosaur plus the Collector, as well as we've got Bishop in here too. So the idea behind this deck is we want to play cards, scoop them back up so that we can continue to power things up, right? So for our deck list, we've got the Hood, Agent 13, Quinjet, the Collector, Beast, Cable, Mystique, Bishop, Zabu, Moon Girl, and White Queen. So the idea is, right, we'd like to get the Collector on the field as early as possible, along with Quinjet, to take advantage of Agent 13, Hood, and Cable, right? Then, if we can Beast on top of some of those cards to pull them back into our hand, that's going to help boost up the Collector, right? Plus, it's going to make him cheaper, so we can play him again, and then that's going to help us get cards into our hand for Devil Dinosaur. Now, Mystique, you really want to play Mystique so that you can copy Devil Dino on turn 6, but because we've got Zabu, we actually have the opportunity on turn 6 to play something like Mystique and Moon Girl, like Mystique and White Queen. Now, if you can, I think running some combination of, like, Devil Dino on turn 5 with Mystique, and then having done Moon Girl before that, getting yourself multiple Devil Dinosaurs and Mystiques. Maybe even if you drop Moon Girl and then Devil Dino and then 2 Mystiques turn 6, right? That's got an opportunity to be really strong as well. But if you've got that Zabu on the field, your Moon Girl on turn 4, your Moon Girl on turn... No, I was right. Your Moon Girl on turn 4 is going to have the opportunity to have some other cards played alongside it, because you're going to have 2 mana left at your disposal. So you'll be able to drop a Cable. You'll be able to drop a demon from Hood, right? So this deck, I think, has a lot of opportunity to really help Devil Dino shine, like it doesn't already. But I think that this is just another way that you can run Devil Dinosaur. I'm not sure if this is going to be as strong as the other two decks that I've shown already, but Devil Dinosaur, realistically, even without Zabu, you know, making Moon Girl and White Queen cheaper, is already just really, really powerful. And I think with this deck list, I've gone a bit away from, I think, a traditional Devil Dino set, right? Because since we're trying to run the Collector and boost Bishop, we're also playing Beast, so it may not be that great of a deck list, but I still think that in Devil Dino archetypes, if you play Zabu, you're going to be able to take advantage of that Moon Girl and that White Queen, which are both just really strong cards in this archetype. So if you can get those down for cheaper, I think that you're really going to see Devil Dino take another step up in terms of power, which is just incredibly insane considering that the deck is already super, super strong. So the last two decks that I want to talk about with regards to Zabu are actually going to be in the Control archetype. Control definitely has a lot of 4-cost cards that you can really take advantage of with Zabu, and I think that Control could definitely see a spike in power thanks to Zabu. So in this deck list, we've got Iceman, Daredevil, Goose, Zabu, Absorbing Man, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Jessica Jones, Rescue, Professor X, Arrow, and Magneto. Now, Daredevil, right, Iceman, they're just really classic Control archetype cards, right? Iceman, gonna slow your opponent down. Daredevil, it's gonna let you see what your opponent's doing on turn 5. Now, Goose, I really like in Zabu Control decks because as long as you've got Zabu on the field, Goose, which doesn't let you play 4, 5, or 6 cost cards, when Zabu's on the field, Goose isn't going to stop you from playing down your 4-cost cards because they're only going to cost 2. So you're going to have access to every single one of your lanes with all of these 4-cost cards, which is going to be really nice, but your opponent is still going to get slowed down thanks to Goose. So for our 4-cost cards, we've got Absorbing Man, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Jessica Jones, and Rescue. Now, I really like Absorbing Man in this list because we have the opportunity to use Shang-Chi twice. We've got the opportunity to use Enchantress twice. We've got the opportunity to use Jessica Jones twice, and then the same thing applies for Rescue. Absorbing Man can copy the abilities of all of these 4-cost cards. Plus, we can also copy Arrow on turn 6 if we really wanted to. I love Absorbing Man in Zabu lists. I think that, especially in these Control lists, Absorbing Man is going to see a huge amount of play, and Zabu is really going to make this card pop off, right? Everybody knows what Shang-Chi does. Everybody knows what Enchantress does. Jessica Jones and Rescue, right? They're basically the same card. One just says, don't play a card here. The other one says, do play a card here. So with these two cards, we're going to be able to get a lot of power on the field. And honestly, we could play them both on the same turn thanks to Zabu. So you could have, on turn 4, Jessica Jones and Rescue hit the field. And then turn 5, you get, you know, 8 more power in total, right? Plus whatever else you're going to play. If you play Arrow turn 5 on top of Rescue, and then you've played Jessica Jones and Rescue on the same turn, that's a 16 power turn. This deck has the opportunity, I think, to put out a lot of power. Plus, you can stop your opponents in their tracks thanks to Shang-Chi. You can annoy them a lot with Arrow and Magneto, moving cards out of where they want them to be. You can force them not to play places by having Goose and Professor X. There's just, I think, a lot of potential with this deck that I'm really, really excited about. I think Control is going to see a huge boost in play. At least a boost in power as well, even if it doesn't see a boost in play, because I know that a lot of people already really love Control thanks to Leader, but I think with Absorbing Man, I think with Zabu making a bunch of these 4-cost cards that you can play in Control decks cheaper, I think that you're really going to see at least an increase in power, even if you don't see an increase in play. But if there's an increase in power, I would expect there to be an increase in play. So our last deck list is really going to revolve around Kingpin. In the deck, we've got Daredevil, Goose, Storm, Zabu, Cosmo, Juggernaut, Kingpin, Spider-Man, Rescue, Professor X, Arrow, and Magneto. Now, the idea is, right, we want to shut down lanes, we want to get Kingpin established, and then we want to move cards there on turn 6 to help us win. So in order to do that, right, we can play things like Rescue and a Professor X, and then we can do Arrow onto a Kingpin. We could do a Magneto onto a Kingpin, right? But we've got Zabu in this list just because it makes Spider-Man and Rescue that much more powerful. So if we play Kingpin, right, and then we do Zabu, or, you know, in either order, right, on turn 3 and 4, if we get those cards down on turn 3 and 4, we can play Spider-Man on turn 5, so that our opponent can't play into Kingpin on turn 6, and then we can either Arrow or Magneto into that lane. Daredevil, Goose, and Storm, right, they're going to help us get some lane control. With Daredevil, you know, letting us see what is happening on turn 5 so that we can really make sure we're playing our cards in the right place. Goose is going to stop our opponents from playing big cards in lanes that we don't want them to. And then Storm, right, is going to give us some lane control, hopefully maybe shut down a lane so that our opponents, you know, can't play anything there. Professor X is really going to do the same thing in terms of lane control. And then Arrow and Magneto, I guess they're also lane control. There's just a bunch of lane control in this deck. Arrow, Juggernaut, and Magneto are all cards that you can play that are going to affect the location and where your opponents are going to be able to play their cards. So I don't think that this deck is really going to be as strong as the first control archetype, but you can definitely scare some people with it, and Arrow and Magneto are just super strong cards, right? Nobody likes playing control anyway. You might get some people, you know, able to retreat, you know, if they see the combo coming. But for the most part, I think that this is probably going to be at least a mid-tier Zabu deck. Honestly, a deck that you don't even need to play Zabu in. But having Spider-Man and Rescue at your disposal for 2 energy as opposed to 4 is going to be really nice. Could help you get some really good turn 5s off. So I think that this has some viability, but it's probably not the best. If you made it this far in the video, really want to give a big shout out to you and say thank you very much. I really appreciate you sticking around to the end. If you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you want to stay up to date with me and all of my content, please consider subscribing. I know I'm really looking forward to playing with Zabu, and I've got a lot more deck lists to make, but I want to hear from you guys as well. What archetypes are you looking forward to sticking Zabu into, and what kind of deck lists are you making? Please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. If you want to catch me playing live on Twitch, you can find me there at twitch.tv/mynamescaleb. So, until the next video, or I see you live on stream, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, my friends.